Hi there. A lot of people ask me, how do I cook without oil? And I'm going to start showing you guys my everyday cooking really as to what I cook every day and how I cook and how I work with spices and different cooking techniques to infuse the flavor. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make a little quick stir fry side with daikon. Now daikon is from the radish family, and it's little peppery, little spicy sometimes, but has a very nice flavor to it. And since it comes from the same cruciferous family, such as cauliflower, cabbage, radishes, they have their own health benefits, which are tremendous when it comes to anti-cancer or detox and removing toxins from our body. So I thought, since this daikon is not super fresh, it's like a couple days old. If it is fresh, I use it in salads. But today I'm going to make it into a stir fry. So literally, I'm going to chop this into small pieces, and while it's chopping, I'm going to start heating up my iron skillet here. And that's the important part of it, of cooking without oil, is you want to make sure the skillet is nice and hot and ready to go. So as you can see, it has already started smoking. There's no oil in it, by the way. I'm just going to lower the heat here a little bit, and going to start chopping my daikon. Now, since the skillet is already hot, I'm going to start cracking some of the mustard. Again, without oil. This is different from the Indian tadka that we make. So there's some mustard in there. And what I have noticed, cumin goes really well with this daikon or radish. Okay. The other name for radish, this type of long radish is daikon. It's available in Indian store, Chinese stores, Korean stores, and it comes with beautiful greens on top, which are so delicious and super rich in iron. So daikon as a whole is a very nutritious addition to your diet. And I'm not going to chop both of my daikons, because this one I'm going to turn it into a steamed dumpling recipe that I have been wanting to do. So I have the chopped daikon ready. There's just few that are not all the way chopped, so I'm just going to quickly separate all the pieces out. And as you can see, the mustard and cumin has already cracked. Now I'm going to increase the heat again, because like I said, we want it to be hot and sizzling. And now I'm just going to drop this in. When you add the vegetable, it needs to sizzle. You should hear the sizzling sound. And the trick is that you keep stirring. Okay? And you keep stirring until you start seeing that, you know, it's the daikon will, just like potato, it's going to stick to the mustard and the cumin that we just added, which is fine. Now, just to make sure that it has enough moisture and to seal the daikon flavor in, I'm going to sprinkle it with some veggie broth. Now, ooh, look at that. As you can see, because the skillet is very hot and the daikon pieces are like sponge, they absorb all the broth. And by doing so, the flavors are going to stay in, okay? And that's why I personally feel that the vegetable taste, like the real, you can really taste their original taste without just the fat and salt and sugar when we cook without much oil, okay? So I am going to continue infusing this daikon with some more broth. And by adding this broth, you are also making sure that nothing is sticking to the skillet. So none of the spices are stuck to the skillet now, or the daikon is also not sticking to the skillet. And I'm going to continue to cook this, probably lightly covered. Yeah. So I'm going to cover it for a few minutes and allow it to cook. It's been a few minutes now that it's been covered and cooking. I sprinkle with some more broth in between just to make sure that it wasn't getting too dry. And it's semi-cooked now. It's not as tough as it was before. Like I said, daikon can be eaten raw, so it's not a very super tough vegetable. It doesn't require, even if it is little crunchy or undercooked, it's not going to taste raw. Okay, in fact, you want it little undercooked or crunchy. You don't want to cook your vegetables too much. Now I'm just going to sprinkle with more broth just to get a little more moisture in there, because now I'm going to add some spices, right? Like I said, radish has its own flavor. It's little peppery. It has a little even salty, I feel. I mean, it has just a very mild salty aftertaste. It doesn't need too much of salt either. You can season it with some sea salt if you need it at this point. But I'm going to add some turmeric or turmeric, okay? And then what should I do? Yeah, a little bit of cayenne, not too much, because it's the daikon, like I said, itself has a little bit of a peppery taste to it. And I'm going to allow the spices to coat all the daikon pieces. And what's really going to make this a real fun is adding some black sesame seeds and powdered peanut. Okay, so peanut powder, or if you're allergic to nuts, then you can add crushed pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds. Okay, you can also sprinkle some dry coconut. I hope you guys can see it, but all the spices are stuck to these pieces of daikon, and every bite you're going to have a little bit of cumin and mustard seeds and cayenne. So it's going to be fine. And remember, I did not use any oil. So what's going to add a little bit of that oily mouthfeel to this dish is the peanut powder. Okay. So I crush my nut powders, or I make my nut and seed powders in a coffee grinder. I have, God knows, 5-7 different coffee grinders, one for each function. I have one which is dedicated only for cardamom, you know, because cardamom is very potent and has really nice flavor. And I don't want it to absorb flavors from other ingredients in the grinder. So anyway, I just sprinkled some peanut powder. So as soon as you add the peanut powder, you're going to see the nutty aroma starts to come in, okay? And now these pieces are covered with, have this light coating of peanut powder, okay? Which is great because that's going to add another layer of flavor. I sometimes get obsessed with sprinkling my vegetable with broth because I just feel that it adds such nice, it helps seal the flavor, okay? So I'm just going to add just a bit, and just to make sure that the peanut powder, which is stuck to the bottom of the skillet here, not too much, just a little, is going to get scraped, okay? So just a little bit. I have turned the heat off because really that's the beauty of working with cast iron skillet, that the heat stays, it holds the heat for a long period of time. So that's pretty much it. The cooking is done, and just as a last layer of flavor and nutrition, I'm going to add some black organic sesame seeds, okay? You don't have to add it, but I just feel it gives that dish a little bit of an Asian touch. Plus, it looks beautiful. So, guys, from now onwards, I'm going to be showing you how to cook without oil. Basically, I'll be cooking here my everyday meals, and I'm going to be taping it and sharing it with you. I hope you will try this cooking technique, and you can now have this stir fry or side in a wrap. You can have it with rice, mixed it with rice or any kind of grain. It just has this, it's just going to have nice peppery, nutty flavor. The mixture of peanuts and the pepperiness of radishes, the crunchiness, the sesame, cayenne, cumin, everything is working just perfect. Again, no oil, no added sugar, no added salt either. This is wonderful. I might just add a little bit of lemon on top just before serving, and this dish is good to go. Thank you, and see you soon.